What is up, my dudes, and that one girl who realized that all of her favorite YouTubers go on vacation in January, so she stuck with me. This is Bikes, Beards, and Brews. Let's kick that intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we kick this one off, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. New videos are coming weekly. You ring that bell, you'll know when they drop. Let's get the other stuff out of the way. Want to save 10% on a Cardo communicator or save some money on some Beyond Riders gear or some Kemimoto gear? Then you should check my referral links down below. Want to support me and all my do-gooderness like these cool guys here? Bam! Then you should become part of the Brew Crew and join the coffee page down below. Want to know why I'm asking you for money? Well, next to those 10,000 Amazon affiliate links that are also going to a good cause is a video explaining what I do with your money. Get it? Got it? Cool. Let's move on. All right, guys, so today we're going to be talking about why is an Indian doing this? And before we get into this, I want to kind of like go back and talk about the stuff that Indian is doing well, because it really does lead up into why is an Indian doing this? So trust me, hang tight. This should be a pretty good conversation. Now, I'm going to really want to hear from you guys in the comments afterwards. I'm really interested to see what you think about all this. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about what Indian does right, because quite honestly, they do a lot right. No matter how much I make fun of them and I goof on them, same thing as Harley. No matter how much I make fun of them and goof on them and stuff like that, they do a lot of stuff right. But just like any company on earth, there's always room for improvement, and there's always room to have a laugh at somebody else's expense. Whatever, that's the way life goes. So yeah, you know, when I'm picking on them, don't take it too seriously. It's meant to be a joke, lighthearted. Sometimes it hits a little too close to the core, and that's because they're doing something dumb and I'm pointing it out. But nonetheless, let's move on. So first and foremost, the thing that Indian does really well is they have a really great and diverse lineup without actually making just insane amounts of bikes that just run up their overheads and their cost. Their current lineup is the FTR, the Scout, the Chieftain, the Springfield, the Chief, the Challenger, the Roadmaster, the Pursuit, plus all the variations. And when I say variations, it's because like stuff like the FTR has like 6 or 7 different versions. They kind of have like a scrambler thing. They've got a carbon fiber. They got a wannabe carbon fiber. They've got like a race looking one. Like there's a lot of cool different ones. Same thing when you get into the Scout. There are diverse like types of Scouts you can get, like up to the Rogue with some fairings and stuff on it, right down to just a stripped down bobber. And this is the same with everything. Their Challenger, they've got like their nice basic one. They've got like their Dark Horse lineup. They've got the Pursuit lineup, which has all the baggage and all that stuff for traveling. They've got the Elite lineup on that. So they do a really good job keeping with just a few models, but diversifying them and making them different enough where you want to get them, while at the same time keeping them the same. Now, this is one of those things that I feel like Harley fails upon heavily, and I have mentioned this before, and that is Indian keeps the same sheet metal pretty much on all of the different variations of the models that they have. So for example, the Indian Challenger, if you're to look at all the variations, with the exception of, I want to say the Pursuit, I haven't gotten a good look at that yet, so I don't want to speak on that definitively. But if you look at all their other variations, they have the exact same sheet metal on all of them. They have the same mounting areas for like lights and all that stuff. Everything's the same. The big difference is the paint style that they put on there, the hardware that they attach, stuff like that. But with exception of that, everything's the same. Harley does not do this, and it is maddening with Harley. Like if you go in and you look at all the different road glides, like go look at the rear fender. Some of them have like the dog bone rear light, which is like, you know, the 2 bullet lights and then the license plate underneath. Some of them have that coffin tail light with either a plate bracket on the top or plate bracket down below, who knows. Some of them, like the CVOs, don't have that at all. They just have the taillights on either side. And this is such a waste, because now you're stamping out that sheet metal like 4 different times, and you got to put 4 different cuts in it or no cut at all. And it is just pointless. It is wasted time, effort, and energy when you could just go, you know what, we're gonna do this for taillights and this is what we're doing. Or we're gonna have a few variations, but they're all gonna work off of the same cut like hole that we have on this fender. Done. They just don't do that, and I don't know why. It's insane. Indian does, with a few exceptions. Like if you were to buy like the Scout Bobber, obviously it's got shorter, stumpier fenders. Stuff like that makes sense. But past that, everything's pretty much the same. So much so that actually when I looked into buying a Challenger years back, I became very annoyed with Indian because I wanted the Dark Horse because everything was blacked out, but I didn't want those matte paint jobs that they had. The other bike, I can't even remember what version of like the Challenger it was, had a really nice pearl red going. And I contacted Indian directly and I was like, look man, I want to buy this bike. I'll even pay like some sort of upcharge, but can you put the red sheet metal on that Dark Horse? And they were like, no, we can't do that, but your local dealer can refer you to some paint shops if you want to get painted. Why do I want it painted? I like the red you have, it's right there. All you have to do is take the sheet metal from production line A and move it over to production line B, bolt it down, bam, send it to my dealer, I buy it, we're done. You want to charge me an extra $1,000 to walk left to right? That's fine, I'm good with that. But there are no other differences, so this was absolutely insane to me and it drove me nuts, and it actually pissed me off about Indian. But at the same time, this is a really good approach for them when you're trying to stay lean and mean and you're trying to keep your overhead costs down and like all that other fun stuff. So it is smart, it is intelligent design by Indian, and honestly, as I said, Harley could learn something here. So Harley-Davidson, you should probably pay attention to this and maybe learn something. Now, the other thing about Indian is they've always done a really good job at staying within the same price points as Harley, but 90% of the time they're offering more when you do that. Now, I say 90% of the time because some of the Scouts, they do not like line up as well to the new Sportsters and stuff like that. Price versus what you're getting, horsepower and all that stuff. Honestly, I think the Scouts are a much better looking bike, but that's a matter of perception. So somebody else may not agree with me and actually like the Sportster Sport more than they like the Indian Scout Bobber. Personally, that is one of the best looking bikes, I think, of the Indian lineup. But this brings us to, why isn't Indian doing this? Now, the thing is, Harley-Davidson, I've mentioned it before, they seem to target the older, wealthier audience, and that's it. I mean, their CEO made it clear that he wanted to, in his 5-year plan, produce less bikes, focus on the bigger, heavier bikes that had a higher price tag and a bigger price margin. And that's basically what they've done. They've really aimed towards like the bigger baggers and stuff like that, the more expensive stuff like the ST line and the trikes. And they've given a lot less love to the stuff on the other end of the spectrum. Now, the thing is, Harley does have a good diversified lineup as well, but they still kind of neglect this side, and that's not the best look. Indian, I feel like they have a much better, much more diverse lineup, a much more appealing lineup, because like a lot of people are not digging the new Sport, but a lot of people love that FTR and they love that Scout. Again, matter of perception, I get this, but it seems like that FTR gets way more love than anything smaller bikes, Harley side. So that's where we're at. But here's the thing that Indian is missing. They really should go and just dive in to that heavier market of doing trikes. Now, here's the thing. Harley is pretty much the be-all, end-all of trikes. You look at other companies, they're really not doing trikes. Sometimes you'll get a one-off from the factory. Most times you're taking a bike that you like and you're going out and third-party turning it into a trike. But Harley are the ones that actually do it right off the sales floor. You say trike, people are gonna think a Harley trike. They've kind of just cornered this market, and Indian could get into this market very, very easily, and then they could really give Harley a pretty big black eye. And I say that for A few reasons, and hang with me here and you'll probably be on the same page by the time we get to the end of this. Now, as I said, Indian tends to keep their price point right about where Harley is, but they tend to offer more stuff. So here's the thing, if they did a trike, they'd be building it off of two platforms. One would be the Chieftain, one would be the Challenger, because that's pretty much what they build all their heavier baggers off of currently. So first and foremost, right out of the gate, if you walked into Indian and they were selling trikes, you would have a choice between an air-cooled V-twin and a liquid-cooled V-twin. Harley doesn't do that. Harley doesn't offer that. I've actually mentioned in the past that Harley should adjust their bagger frames so they could put like their liquid cooled, Rev Max engine into it, so people can choose if they want to come in or just make a whole different lineup for like kids looking for, or guys looking for more horsepower liquid cooled engines. They could get a Road Glide with a Rev Max in it, but everyone else can still get the air-cooled ones. It wouldn't be that hard. This is just, design and figuring out bolt patterns and getting it done. Indian doesn't even really have to do that. They could do their two baggers. They could make them both trikes, and then you have your choice between your liquid cooled and your air cooled, and then you get everything else that Harley doesn't offer, like inverted shocks. Now, I know some of you might say the Chieftain doesn't have inverted shocks. Correct, but the Challenger does, and it really wouldn't take much adjustment to put inverted shocks on both. Now, both of them do offer electronic assist rear suspension. When you're loading up your bike and you're going for road trips and stuff like that, you can pre-program it with weight and all that. And I realize that Harley has started getting into that. I haven't seen it on their trikes yet. Indian could be doing this. Plus, you get your powered windshield. You get your powered keyless locks, because with exception of the base models on like the Challenger and the Chieftain, everything comes with keyless locks. So that right out the gate, you'd be getting that. Harley, you don't see that unless you're buying a CVO. You would also get, and this is one of the things that burns me the most about Harley, you would be getting full LED. Now look, Harley has 3 trikes that they're advertising right now with a price range of around like the mid 30,000s all the way up to almost 40,000 MSRP before you get out the door. So obviously these are probably closer to 45,000 by the time you get out the door. And they all have incandescent bulbs in them. Harley, what the hell are you doing? Even the new Road Glide 3 that is coming in at $35,000 MSRP. This bike is only like 2 years old, and you guys were designing this and going, what do we need for directionals? Oh, I know. Let me just get that light bulb in, and you put in bulbs. What are you doing? Like, go to LEDs. It is 2024. What the hell are you doing, Harley? This is the dumbest crap on earth. But if Indian was to create trikes, you know that these would be LED all the way around. That alone, I would, if there was ever a time I'd buy trikes, I would buy an Indian trike just because of that, because I have so much spite towards Harley for still pulling this crap in 2024. This is nuts. Now, I did 2 kind of like down and dirty mock-ups of what you would pretty much be getting if you got an Indian trike, because let's be honest, Indians don't stray far from like Harley designs, so a lot of their stuff pretty much looks like Harley, so I borrowed Harley, and this is what I came up with. Now look, just like anything else I've been saying here, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You may be looking at these going, I would never ride that. You may be looking at these going, oh damn, if Indian did that, that would be great. You may be looking at them going, well, if there was a little more Indian on there, and there would be, because the rear end of those are definitely just straight up Harley trikes. This would fall in line with what Harley is doing. And if you would have it at the Harley price point, except you're doing power windshields, keyless locks, electronic assist suspension, inverted shocks, like all this other stuff that Indian is just doing already. And let's be honest, the Indian sound system is much better too. So you'd be getting a better stereo and better electronics out of the gate too. You would just be buying the Indian trikes. And I get it that, you're not going to be selling like thousands of trikes a year, but Indian also is really good at doing short runs of stuff, like their Elite lineup. Their Elites, they're selling them for like $38,000, and they only make like 124, 125. So I feel like they could be making these trikes, keep them right in price with the Harleys, and still offer all this great stuff and absolutely just smack the crap out of Harley. It would just be crazy. That's what I got for today. What do you guys think? Do you think that if Indian actually got into the trike market, that they would do some damage to Harley? And do you want to see Indian get into the trike market? Sound off down below. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, share this video with friends, share it with family, share it with that one dude you know who's got an abundance of light bulbs in his house in case his blinkers burn out on his Harley and never wants to see LEDs. He loves this stuff, trust me, and I'll see you all on the flip side.